Hello, in this commented presentation I will present you some elements and what's in the air about publication business. I'm just transferring my mouse into a laser pointer, that's it. In fact, there is an unlimited number of journal business models, and in fact they can be categorized into boxes, let's say. First, there are subscription-based journals, delayed open access journals, cold open access journals, and hybrid open access journals. In fact, the income for the publishers can come from library subscriptions or APC, namely author processing charges, or extra fees about data storage or fast track reviewing. Or you may pay also extra charges for extra pages or color figures and so on and so on. Some citizens also could pay to access a whole article or for a personal subscription to a journal. So there is an infinity of journal business models. But let's address now these main categories and the impact they may have on 3Rs. So in the subscription-based model, there is mainly a library subscription to the latest issues and or back files with site licenses. And this is giving the income to the publisher. In the delayed open access journal, there is still a subscription to be paid by libraries, but only for the latest issues. And no charges are due by libraries for open access back files because precisely they are open access and there is no need to pay. For golden open access journals, author processing charges, the author or corresponding laboratory is paying to allow everybody to access immediately the article. The cost per article is between $50 to $6,000. But for Gold Open Access Journal, there is also an infinity of business models because some journals are even asking for more money to obtain a CC BY license or to have the right to self-archive the publisher final version of a manuscript or for data storage and so on and so on. In the hybrid open access, we are ending in a quite strange situation most of the time. There is still a library subscription, and on the other hand, others may choose to pay APCs to allow immediate access to the article by everybody. So there is a kind, within the same journal, there can be access that are forbidden to everybody and some are open access. And we are ending in a situation where libraries and authors pay, and this is called double dipping. And this is why Swiss National Science Foundation do not recommend and do not support this kind of business model. Open access policies. All projects, all articles that were funded by the Swiss National Science Foundation should realize open access within 6 months. I just take back my laser. And this foundation says that they support the cost of gold open access journals, namely APCs, but they do not support costs of hybrid open access. They do not forbid it, but they do not pay for it. And now it is a novelty. The foundation is asking for the reporting of realization of open access. So if it is a gold open access, allowing immediate open access to everybody, you simply add to your report the link, and the same if you report your green open access, you should provide a link to an open, for example, to an institutional open repository. But there are some other major agencies asking for the realization of open access, such as NIH. And open access should be realized within 6 months. But here, reporting is not considered as enough. If no compliance is reached, then the funding is simply cut. Concerning projects of Horizon 2020, there is also an obligation of open access within 6 months with Gold or Green Road. Denmark likes better, let's say, Green Road and recommend it, and they target to be 100% open access in 2022. And UK Wellcome Trust also asks for open access, but within 12 months. And finally, Bill and Melinda Foundation ask for 100% open access in 2017. And they ask for only Gold Road and applied with a Creative Commons by licenses only. Okay, there are several types of a manuscript of a research paper. First you submit the paper, then the payers are saying, okay, this data is missing, you should provide us the information, please change this and this and this, and you start the ping pong, and finally the manuscript is accepted. So before the reviewing by the peers, we call this manuscript a pre-referee version. After reviewing, you call it post-referee version. These two types of manuscripts are called preprint or postprint by publisher also, because it is dating from the ancient time of the printed journals. But I prefer the version of pre-referee and post-referee version. A copyrighted version is the final accepted peer-reviewed manuscript, but with the publisher layout. And in this case, the copyright right was transferred from the author to the publisher. If the manuscript has got a CC BY NC license, it means that it is a final accepted peer-reviewed manuscript with the publisher layout that should not further be diffused or reused for commercial purposes. And it means that theoretically, it should not be used on a social scientific media such as academia or ResearchGates, which are considered as commercial websites by publishers. And finally, the most free version, let's say, is the CC BY publisher version. It means that it is a final accepted peer-reviewed manuscript with the publisher layout that can be diffused freely on the internet everywhere. Okay, so if we take all these elements together, it means that according to the business model of the journal, so in the case of the subscription-based or delayed or an hybrid business model, most of the time there is a copyright transfer from the author to the publisher. And in this case, the copyright publisher version should not be used for the posting on an open access repository on open archives. Most of the time, publishers are asking to use a pre-referee or post-referee version after an embargo period. For Gold Open Access, there are the two different possibilities, with or without copyright transfer from authors to the publisher. If no copyright transfer is occurring with a CC BY or CC BY NC publisher license, then it is possible to use this final publisher layout on the open archives. If there is copyright transfer from author to publisher, it means that the publisher version cannot be used for posting on open repository, and you should also use a pre-referee or post-referee version of the manuscript after an embargo period. In all cases, to know about copyright policies, you should be helped by Sharpo and Romeo Publisher Copyright Policies website. Please refer to the corresponding screencast to know how to use it. But the problem is that there is sometimes a conflict between the funding agency and the copyright policy of the publisher. So let's take examples. The Swiss National Science Foundation asks for realization of open access within 6 months. And let's have a look on the policies of some 3R journals. So ATLA, the Alternative Journal to Laboratory Animals, the ILAR Journal from the Institute of Laboratory Animal Resources Journal, the JAS Journal, and the ALTEX Journal. In the first case for ATLA, this is a subscription-based journal, and in 2015, at the present date, no possible self-archiving of pre- and post-referee is possible, and of course neither the publisher version, so incompatibility. Totally. For the ILAR journal, this is also a subscription-based model, and they say that open access could be realized within 24 months embargo period with a post-referee version. The situation is very interesting for the JAS journal. In 2013, even the post-referee version was not possible within 12 months, but in 2014, they say that publisher version should be systematically be used for the realization of open access in an open repository with an embedded mark and link to the publisher in the open archive. And there is no embargo anymore. So you can see that the pressure of the funding agency is changing the landscape of immediate accessibility to articles. Concerning Altex's journal, this is a gold open access, but they still retain the copyright because CC licenses are not used yet. I don't know if one day they will use it, but for the moment, immediate access is complying with the Swiss National Science Foundation policy. If somebody wants to self-archive, it is still possible in the open repository, but with 12 months embargo period. To know exactly the difference between embargo periods and type of manuscripts and Creative Commons licenses and compatibility with text and data mining of the articles, please see this excellent document, How Open Is It? Here is a good example of a very recent search concerning the 3R. And this is concerning the three-dimensional human neural cell culture model of Alzheimer's disease, and which was published in 2014. And at the date, this summer, 2015, it is possible to open the author manuscript without having a subscription to Nature. And here is an embedded mark, author manuscript, and everything that it is telling the reader that this is an author manuscript and not the final published manuscript. Interestingly, the same team published a protocol in Nature Protocol subscription-based journal, and this article was financed, or this research was financed by the NIH. And here you can see that there is no link on PMC. It is not because there is a mistake, but it is because in July the 6 months embargo period of time is not passed yet. So I still cannot access to this very interesting 3R article. So here we are. I think that open access policy are an opportunity for the better 3R method spreading, and I'm pleased to have you discovered this, I hope. Thank you.